Terrorism football. It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot. This playstyle consists of ultra-defensive, anti-football, often seen successfully in teams whose strengths lie in their back line. And if you're Gareth Southgate, in teams that have near unrivaled attacking power. Frustration with England at an international tournament? We've been here before. I've been paying close attention to the England side at international tournaments since, I would say, the 2004 Euro, and in my opinion, this is the most complete set of players that England have had at a big tournament. Just my opinion, but you know. So why are they producing some of the worst football out of every team in the entire competition? Despite being given some of the most favorable matchups, they've been struggling their way through. I wanted to talk about some of Southgate's decisions, the noise around the England camp, the criticism, and whether it's justified or not. Hello everyone, hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel, I'm Tinashe. It feels like it's been ages since we've done one of these face cam videos, and I'm sorry about that, but we are back, and we're also back to the usual setup. A lot was made about England going into this tournament. I mean, look at this squad. Before the Euro started, you couldn't look at this and tell me that there were any teams other than maybe one or two that beat this team on paper in the entire tournament. Champions League winners, multiple domestic league winners across the continent, Ballon d'Or candidates, and more. However, we live in a predictable world, don't we? If you're as hooked to Euro matches, updates, and news as I am, you'll know that there hasn't been a heck of a lot of positivity floating around this England camp. Despite making it to the quarterfinals at the time of recording this, all the usual suspects, legacy media, ex-players, pundits, and everyone on social media has been blasting them. But like I said, this shouldn't surprise anybody. This is just how the English media cycle works for every tournament. Win or lose, it doesn't really matter. Before the tournament, they build up the squad to unbelievable, crazy heights, and then during it and after, regardless of what happens, they find a way to generate sensationalism. And negativity sells way more than positivity does. It generates clicks, and clicks are good. Subscribe. But that's not what's happening here. This is justified. In this Euro, England passed the ball on average 61 times before taking a shot, which is fine if you're Spain in the early 2010s. But they're not. They have been part of the lowest scoring group in the history of the European Championship. 2 goals scored for them, even though they topped the group, which is wild. They've managed 4 goals between Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham, Harry Kane, and Bukayo Saka over 4 games so far, which is also just wild to me. In the group stages, teams were able to put together almost 29 passes on average before an England player stepped in to intercept or retrieve the ball. Germany only allowed about 8. England cannot press effectively, or at least they're choosing not to. It's one thing to say that Southgate has allowed for a less aggressive approach to ball retrieval. We know that to be true. But it's another thing to say that players are just occupying the same spaces frequently. I'm sure a lot of people noticed this too, but the amount of times that Bellingham and Foden were in the exact same 10 position against Slovakia was kind of hard to count. Not only are they not pressing, they're not even trying to block passing lanes all that well. England can't transition effectively, or at least they're choosing not to. Sideways balls when a break is on, backwards balls when a player indicates that they are running into space. It goes on and on. Against Slovakia, England conceded within 25 minutes and then never had a shot on target in the entire match until the 95th minute. In the time between, sure, there were chances here and there, but nothing concrete. They're just quite lucky that Jude Bellingham has the tendency of becoming Bellingham. That was good, right? And that should be celebrated. But we also have to admit that even he didn't have the best of games in the 94 minutes before the wonder goal, and neither did the rest of the team. Kane and Bellingham and more have all come out and blasted the critics for what they feel is unfair backlash. Which is fair, they are human beings and they're experiencing pressure to an extent that most of us could never imagine. Will never imagine. And it's really easy to be critical when you're coming in from the outside, right? But the realist in me kinda says they had to have seen this coming, right? Especially Kane talking about all these former players and pundits and how they should know the pressure, so they shouldn't be as critical. The thing is, they do know the pressure. The only thing is that they're not players anymore. Even more so, they're fans, just like the rest of all the other fans. Right? They watch the games in the exact same way as all the people in the stadium, all the people on TV, and they let their frustrations out in the exact same way as all those people. Plus, they're paid to be critical. Is it fair? You tell me. Is this going to happen in the next tournament and every tournament after that for every nation, not just England? Yes. There seems to be this notion of overblown, unprecedented criticism by some England players. I'm sure the Italians will have something to say about unfair treatment. For over a decade now, this team has been subject to all kinds of abuse from their local media. The Belgians, with their golden generation, have had it rough. France, whenever they lose, have had it rough. Although over the past 8 years or so, they haven't lost all too much, to be fair. I guess a lot of the criticism for the non-English speaking world just doesn't really do the rounds because, and I'll speak for myself, I only really follow the English-speaking world, so I can only attest to that in what I've seen. And again, this isn't a case of it's happening to them, so you guys shouldn't be surprised that it's happening to you. It's just a case of you're not going to be able to stop the criticism. It's just going to pile on even more, regardless of what you do. Southgate and these players should know that more than anybody else. I think they should all just lock away their phones during an international tournament. It's harsh, but it makes the most sense. So, on to Southgate's decisions. For starters, his decision to ditch the waistcoat. Not a bad one if you ask me. The fashion is there. Let's talk positioning first. England are shockingly flaccid on their left side, which makes sense because nobody that naturally plays on the left seems to be starting. Kieran Trippier and Phil Foden, while both elite players, have had to make do over here. The results haven't really been pretty because both of them prefer to face the inside than stretch the play. Meanwhile, Anthony Gordon's mostly been twiddling his thumbs on the bench. Shaw is coming off an injury, to be fair, but he is on the bench. Instead, almost everything runs through that right-hand side, which opponents are able to predict pretty easily. Against Denmark, this happened. Against Slovakia and Slovenia, this happened. Trippier came off injured, which is the last thing England need, so Bukayo Saka played at left back from the 65th minute for Slovakia. Listen, it was out of necessity, but there have been murmurs from Southgate and Saka that kind of suggest that he could very well play more at left back as this tournament goes on. I do know that he played there earlier on in his career for Arsenal, and I think he might have played there for England a couple years ago, but at the same time, is this stage the right time to be experimenting with arguably the best right winger in all of England? You know, not only at the back, but also on the side of the pitch that he doesn't prefer. For all of Harry Maguire's shortcomings, he is usually impeccable for England, so it is a shame that injury has kept him out here. Him and Stones are historically solid. All the same, I've been very impressed by Mark Guehi. I don't watch too much Crystal Palace, so I can't really say that I'm a long-time observer, but he seemed very confident in every game, other than the Slovakia game, which he also coincidentally got himself a suspension for the next game. Trent Alexander-Arnold being played in the midfield has been a wet dream of many people for a long time, and he definitely has the scope to transition there in the future, but for the time being, when it comes to this England squad, there just doesn't seem to be enough of an overall plan or setup that would allow him to thrive in this system. Kane is wonderful, but is at his most effective when he has people running in behind. This is exactly what he did not have and has not had this whole tournament. Things weren't working versus Slovakia when they really needed them to. Which is why, as so many have stated, it's so strange that Ivan Toney was introduced to the game so late into it. He was extremely positive as soon as he came on. He got the assist that led to the ultimate winner of the game, and he almost got a goal himself. There is no way Southgate could have known that would happen. My guy was brought on with 70 seconds left to go. I really think it was more of a case of, hey, you haven't played in this Euro yet, we're about to get knocked out in 70 seconds. Go on, have a cap. The fact that he actually made an impact isn't indicative of a masterclass by the formerly waistcoat man, it's fortune. Great fortune. Southgate claims that Toney was disgusted with him after being brought on so late on. Yeah, I bet he was. I bet he was. As for Kobbie Mainoo, no notes. Perfection. I have a feeling that England will beat Switzerland in the quarterfinal, but it's clear that they are the weaker team from an overall unit perspective. And all of this comes down to Southgate's decision making. It's really hard to defend his tactical choices and the way he chooses to set up his team, given the unbelievable talent at his disposal. Now, I do want to talk about other teams over the next few days, so it's entirely possible that I'm not going to talk about England again over the course of the rest of the Euros, but I do want to just say one thing about Southgate. Just to play devil's advocate, as I usually like to do with these videos, Southgate is England's most successful manager since 1966. He's actually won more knockout games than any English manager since they last won the World Cup. And yes, that does come down to the expansion of all of these individual tournaments, going from 8 matches overall to 24 as we are in the 2024 Euros. But still, the record kind of counts for something, I think. You know, they did get to the final of the last Euro and the semi-final of the 2018 World Cup. At the end of the day, when it comes to knockout football, knockout international football at this level where teams only get together every couple of years, what it really comes down to is riding your luck. I mean, just having the best set of players or the best team doesn't always equate to success. You know, golden generation after golden generation come in and don't have anything to show for their efforts. Just look at that Belgian side that I mentioned earlier on. They were knocked out for the umpteenth time in a row. It's tough out there, you know? One could argue that Southgate is just trying to make it as difficult as possible for his opponents to score, and then hoping that that luck factor just rides in and pushes them all the way through. Now, has it worked out? Actually, yes, so far. Maybe he rides his luck a little too much, but at the end of the day, England have gone far more often than not with him. Maybe he knows something we don't. And there we have it. Let me know what you guys think about England and about Southgate. We're halfway through the tournament, but back to making videos a bit more regularly. And yeah, that's all for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.